How are you today? The improved package has arrived. We're having it fitted in time for FP1. Have a look at the factory report.
Hello and welcome to my F1 2016 Career Mode series. We're here at the Malaysian Grand Prix, and automatically you will realise that we are at the wrong Grand Prix. This isn't the Singapore Grand Prix as it should be. I do have an apology to make. When I edit these career mode videos, I tend to record them on like a Tuesday, then edit over Wednesday, Thursday, and schedule it on a Friday to go up live on a Saturday. I've come to edit it on today, which is Thursday, and found out that the recording is completely corrupted. There's nothing I can use from it. So here we are at the Malaysian Grand Prix. As a quick update as to what happened at the Singapore Grand Prix, we beat our rival Sebastian Vettel. We took pole position for the Singapore Grand Prix, but mixed conditions in the race saw us have quite a bad race, and the engineer ruined our strategy by telling us to go onto slick tyres way too early, and it ruined our race basically, and eventually we ended up putting it in the wall. So if we look at the trophy room, as you can see, we did not score any points in the Singapore Grand Prix, which is a real disappointment, our first DNF of the season. In the standings, though, this is how it stands. Our lead over Sebastian Vettel is still 49 points, because Vettel, who was cruising in the early part of the race out front, actually had an engine failure, and that means that he did not score any points. Although Daniel Ricciardo won the Grand Prix, we still have a 49-point lead coming to the Malaysian Grand Prix. In the constructors' standings as well, we still have quite a big buffer over Ferrari and Mercedes, 400 points to 67. So I think we've done quite well there in that respect. Research and development, there has been a bit of change. For some reason it hasn't loaded everything up on the left hand side, but we did 2 upgrades for this race, which you will have seen: an engine and a fuel efficiency. We've also ceased the R&D, so we cannot make any more upgrades on our car for the rest of the season, but all the resource points we gain will go towards Season 2 with a bit of a bonus on top. So the package we have now will take us all the way through to the Bahrain Grand Prix for Season 2, should there be a Season 2 on this channel. But Ferrari, Mercedes, unless they cease their R&D, they cannot. They can still upgrade their car. So I think that's everything from the Singapore Grand Prix that I can kind of sum up, really. We still lead the championship. We have an extra pole position to our name. We've finished all of our development, and now I'm going to take you to just after FP3. I'm not going to show any of the track acclimatization or any of that, because we can't do anything with the resource points now, so there's no point in showing that. So I'll probably skip to our qualifying goals. So as you can see in practice, we got green on the track acclimatization, failed tyre management, and failed the qualifying pace test. So we've had a really bad start to this practice, in the 3 practice sessions for this weekend. Just to let you know that the weather is going to be dry in every session apart from the race, which is going to start off with heavy rain, and then it looks like, according to the practice weather forecast, that it's going to go to light rain for the rest of it. So we've gone with a wet setup for qualifying, so it's damage limitation. There are our resource points from practice, and we have a new rival.
Hey, looks like you've got a bit of rivalry going on out there. This is good. Gets people talking about you. Just make sure you outperform them, okay?
So, our new rival is our teammate, Daniel Ricciardo. The man who we had as our rival at the start of the season is now our rival again, mainly because he's our nearest championship rival that isn't Sebastian Vettel. Here's our session goal.
Hi. Just letting you know that we've had the team's expectations through for the upcoming qualifying session.
So, as I was saying, he's our nearest rival, isn't Vettel, and we just beat Vettel, so it makes sense. And qualify 4th and beat Ricciardo. Let's see how we do. We are running a wet setup, so it is going to be damage limitation in this session, but hopefully it will come to us in the race. So I'm going to send you down to Crofty for qualifying for the Malaysian Grand Prix here in Sepang.
Sit back and put your feet up as we head into qualifying here in Kuala Lumpur. Over the next few minutes, we'll find out who's got pace in the car and who hasn't.
So here we are in qualifying 2. We made it through qualifying 1 pretty easily, actually, given that we're running a wet setup. We are running the soft compound tyres in Q2 because it is going to be raining at the start of the race. Whether it rains for the whole race, I don't know, but it's definitely going to be a wet start, so there's no point qualifying on the mediums on a wet setup and risk getting knocked out. So we are going to run the softs, and that's going to put us P4 in the session, so that's not too bad until you look at the amount of people that ran the medium compound tyre. So really, we're not looking great. It's the top 3 very quick on a set of medium compound tyres, which is worrying. It is worrying. We haven't really had good pace here this weekend. So it is damage limitation, as you can see, who got knocked out in qualifying 2. Sergio Perez didn't make it. His qualifying. He's struggled to get into Q3, I found it. Anyway, here we are at the end of Quali 3. We did a lap on our Q1 tyres. That put us 7th. And we're now right on the end of our final lap. We're about 9/10 of a second up on our Delta time. It's been a much better lap. New tyres, low fuel, rich mix. We open the DRS on the run to the line. And where's that going to put us on the grid? I think we made it in 4th? Yes. P4, and I can tell you I was jumping up and down in my room when I got P4. That was a phenomenal lap on a wet setup, dry tyres. I can't stress it enough. Ultimate AI, the lot, and 4th place. Quite a bit off pole, but closer than I expected to be. So I was pleasantly surprised, really. And given if we had, let's just say our first lap had been the one that would have put us 7th on the grid, so that was a vital lap time for our championship, really, as we really need a good result coming off the back of a DNF in Singapore. And if we can get a good result here, we are taking a major stride towards the title. As you can see, Vettel on pole position, our nearest championship rival, so he'll be gunning for a good result tomorrow. Here are our resource points as well. A nice healthy 70 to add to the pot, and that gives us 236. Of course, we've ceased the R&D, so we can't do anything with it until next season. The rivalry, it's going to take a beating. Ricardo was quicker than us in qualifying. He qualified higher than us, had a quicker lap time, so it's not a great start there. Although in the driver position we achieved what the team wanted, so we didn't do too bad, and I think we're going to have our race goals now.
Hey, how are you? I have some information on the race goals you should keep in mind.
4th place, beat Ricardo, 6th or higher in the driver's standings. We should do one of those, and I expect we should be able to at least maintain position in this race. Depends if it dries up at all, but again, I'm going to send you down to Crofty for the Malaysian Grand Prix here in Sepang.
From uncompromising heat to unrelenting storms, you never know quite what you're going to get here in Kuala Lumpur. The inaugural race in 1999 was the last of 4 Grand Prix victories for Northern Ireland's Eddie Irvine. I wonder who'll be adding their name to that history today. 5 lefts and 10 rights make up the 15 corners of Sepang's 3.4-mile circuit, a track where the weather always threatens to play a deciding factor. The drivers will be subjected to forces in excess of 4G and heavy braking zones in 4 of these corners, 2 of which come at the end of DRS zones into turn 1 and to turn 15.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
So the grid for the Malaysian Grand Prix, Sebastian Vettel starts on pole with Daniel Ricciardo alongside him. Kimi Raikkonen is 3rd for Ferrari, with me in 4th. Hamilton and Rosberg lock out the 3rd row. Bottas is ahead of Massa, and Hulkenberg and Alonso round out the top 10. As you can see from the strategy, it's no good because it's going to dry up halfway through, so the recommended strategy just is useless, to be perfectly honest. We're going to have to do it on the fly. But as you can see, half the race will be dry, half of it will be wet. The first part of it's going to be heavy wet, and then it will go to inters for a chunk of it. So we'll see how we go. I don't think we had a heavy rain start yet, and we haven't driven in the heavy rain really at all in this career mode season, and I haven't really done it at all, apart from in a few quick online races with Will and Sam. So we'll just see how it goes. We've got a wet setup on the car. We were quick in Silverstone in the heavy rain, so we'll see what we can do here. We've got 2, 3, 4, now 5 red lights. Get ready to dump the clutch, because away we go here in Malaysia. We've had a bit of a dodgy start. We kind of had a poor reaction to the lights, but the second phase of the start has been exceptional. We've got a great start. We've jumped past Kimi Räikkönen, moved over to the inside, and there's a gap up the inside into turn 1 at Vettel's inside. We've taken it. We've run a little bit wide. We've shoved him out wide a little bit. I think Ricciardo was on his outside. That's going to compromise our teammate. Räikkönen's up to second. Bottas out of nowhere's up battling Vettel for third. That Williams, which isn't too great in the rain, is all of a sudden fighting for a podium position as we've lost the car on the exit at turn 3. Caught it nicely off the racing line, and we hold on to the lead of the Malaysian Grand Prix. It was a great start from us. Räikkönen as well as Bottas. I think Bottas might be buying me a drink after the race, because honestly we've given him a perfect opportunity to get into a podium position and now fight for third place as we run a little bit wide through here. The middle sector, when we hook it up, we are quick through this middle sector as Räikkönen's all over us now, but we're so inconsistent through them. We do lose a lot of time, especially on the exit of turn 6 and then through the double apex turn 7 as we get a replay of the start now. As you can see, we didn't really get away off the line. Hamilton and Rosberg in the Mercedes got brilliant launches but just didn't do anything with their starts. As you can see, then Räikkönen kind of gives us an opportunity to go up the inside, so we take that, and Vettel leaves us the room, and we don't even shove him out wide, to be honest. It's Räikkönen that kind of shoves Vettel out. Ricciardo got kind of tried to go around the outside of Vettel, and Vettel was just so wide going into turn 1, as we'll see here. It just meant Ricciardo had nowhere to go but just get stuck around his outside. He just watch all these cars fly past him up the inside. So you can see Vettel, he's had a good start. He's pretty much maintaining the lead. We're going to turn 1, and look how much room he leaves up the inside. It's just an open door for us to go up through, as Räikkönen goes through as well, and then Bottas has a piece of the action as well and drives clean around the outside of Vettel, who then gets a massive tank slapper on the exit as he starts to go through turn 3. Now this is going to be a good view from Valtteri Bottas. You can see the fast starting Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton there in the two Mercedes, and Bottas bravely goes down the middle, hits the back of Kimi Räikkönen, damages the thumb part of the nose on the nose cone. And then look, it just follows him up the inside. It's just mad, and it's great to see the AI actually taking the risk and the opportunity to just dive on up the inside. It's great to see. As we'll see Lewis Hamilton's point of view here. He had a really good launch, flicked to the inside, and then the second phase just didn't really go anywhere. As Bottas then starts pushing Räikkönen. I don't know how the Mercedes have geared their car. It just didn't seem that quick in a straight line for a car that should be one of the quickest, as he even loses out to Rosberg and almost Felipe Massa into turn 1 as we're now going through turn 2. Rosberg's just going to shove him out wide, and look at Ricciardo getting so close to swiping the nose off Hamilton. Ricciardo not very happy with how his start went, wasn't planning on losing any more positions, you can see. As here we are with Räikkönen, as there's us going flying clean past Räikkönen actually. To be fair to Kimi, he bides his time. He's on the outside. Gap opens up on the inside, and he goes, "Thank you very much." Almost contact with Räikkönen and Vettel through turn 1. Vettel had to get out of it. That probably compromised Ricciardo even more, to be honest. As you can see, Räikkönen now is on the back of us as we end lap 2 in this race. Despite having a fully wet setup on the car is not feeling very nice in these full wet conditions. I think it will come into its own when we hit the intermediate conditions as we run wide through the final corner. Räikkönen's going to be right on the back of us now as we come down the main straight to start lap 3 of this race. But we've got really good traction, in fact. And although Räikkönen sets a faster lap, he's nowhere near us in the slipstream. And we're going to hold the lead going down into turn 1 as now we're watching Jolyon Palmer going down the penultimate straight, the main straight, and look at that, his engine's blown another Renault engine failure, and that's not good for Jolyon Palmer, and that's brought the virtual safety car out, which came out at pretty much a good time for us, to be honest, because the rain is starting to ease off. We're getting ready to go to intermediate conditions. You can see I'm talking to Jeff now about, are the full wets the tyre to be? Also, we've selected intermediates, although it has gone back to wets because for some reason Jeff was telling me to go onto slick tyres. I mean, it's full wet conditions, Jeff. Why would I go to slicks? But now he is telling me to go on to the intermediates here on lap 6. The virtual safety car has ended as well. So here we are at the end of lap 6. We're going for it. We're coming in for our pit stop. We are going to put on the green-walled intermediate tyres. Raikkonen has followed us in as well, so that is confirmation that we have made the right call, because the AI are following us into the pit lane as we just about slow down in time for the pit line. I don't know how we did it, to be honest, but we've just about done it. And now we're coming in. Ricciardo is also pitting as well as we come in for our pit stop. It's a good stop from the Red Bull boys. That's going to keep us ahead of Kimi Raikkonen. As you can see, the flood of cars coming into the pit lane. Very reminiscent of Malaysia in 2012. With all those pit stops in a race pretty similar to this, actually. Full wet to Inter to slicks, but it is looking like now that we are going to end up on the dry tyre at some point, and with a full wet setup on the car, it could come to backfire on us, especially if it's half the race like the strategy suggested it was. But as you can see, we've come out in 3rd place behind Hamilton, Hulkenberg, and Alonso has come out in front of Kimi Raikkonen, so that's going to help us out, help us create a buffer on Raikkonen, who's only just now got past Alonso. As we're cutting later into the lap, we're catching up on Nico Hulkenberg in the Force India, who is yet to stop. We've got so much more grip on the intermediate tyres. We're just going to fly up the inside. He jumps out of the way. There is no contact. I looked in the replays and there is no contact. He just jumped out of the way when we went up his inside into the penultimate corner. And as you can see now, we're just going to try and catch Lewis Hamilton, who I believe is coming in for his pit stop now. He is in the pit lane, as you can see on the mini-map in the bottom left-hand corner. Hulkenberg now dives into the pit lane as well. And we are going to retake the lead now of the Malaysian Grand Prix. We've got about a 5-second lead now to Kimi Raikkonen as we cut all the way now to lap 15 in this race. We've jumped a long way. As you can see, Raikkonen has just dropped out of 3rd place. He and Vettel have now pitted for fresh intermediate tyres. So they're going for an extra set of inters. However, the engineer did tell me that the rain was going to stop in about 15 minutes time, and that's roughly around lap 17, lap 18. So we're trying to stick it out to the dry period on the inters, but as you can see on the tyre scale, we're at nearly 80% on the front left, and we have to pit this lap. We have to pit it, otherwise we are just risking a puncture, and we could throw away at least a podium in this race. So we're gambling now on the slick tyres. It's a little bit early, I think, but we should get away with it. We can't afford to come in for inters and then pit for slicks in 2 laps time, because we are going to lose track position to Raikkonen if we do that. So we're going to lose track position to Raikkonen anyway, because he's been lapping quicker than us on fresh inters. So we just have to make this work. We're going on to the white-walled medium compound tyres. It said in the strategy that the mediums would do about 11 laps at a push. As you can see, a few cars have come in behind us. That's Raikkonen and Hamilton. We'll see if they follow us onto the medium compound tyres. Hang on. Is that inters? It is. Ricciardo's putting intermediates on. What is he doing? Hamilton's put intermediates on as well. So we're now the first and only car on the slick tyre. Why Ricciardo and Hamilton have followed us in for intermediates, I do not know. Look at the track. It's bone dry pretty much. And as you can see now on lap 20, Vettel is hunting us down now on his fresh inters. Although, as we can see, just a couple of corners later, DRS is enabled. The track is now dry enough for slicks. We only gambled 1 lap early. So we've kind of got away with it, to be honest, as we now come across the line to set the fastest lap of the race and retake the lead of the race from Kimi Raikkonen, who's now pitted for hard compound tyres with only 7 laps to go. I am surprised. Most of the AI, as Ricciardo pits, most of the AI have gone for hard compound tyres. We've gone for mediums, and we're going longer on our mediums than they are on their hards, and we've got more tyre wear than they have. So that is quite worrying, I must say, as we get up the inside of Felipe Nasr and to lap him, as we come now to end lap 22, start lap 23, and set a new fastest lap of the race. We are now having to think about tyre conservation as well, because it is going to be very touch and go as to whether we can take the medium compound tyres to the end of the race. I did think about the hards, but I presumed the AI would go on to mediums, so I went aggressive and tried to, as Raikkonen sets a much faster lap time than we could ever hope to do, and now Ricciardo's doing it. Everyone's lapping a lot faster than us now. We can't get anywhere near our best timers. Rio Haryanto, we're looking on the replay now, has now got a right rear puncture in the first sector, and he's bringing yellow flags out wherever he goes. We're going to have to dive past him as best as we can, and I can tell you that he does hold up Kimi Räikkönen through the penultimate corner, as now Haryanto brings out the virtual safety car, which is going to help us out in our bid to conserve the medium compound tyres. As you saw briefly on that tyre graphic, they're not doing great with just a couple of laps to go. We don't want to push them too hard. It's going to be tight as we're now coming right up close to a couple of back markers, and I think we do have a slice of team radio.
Blue flag, blue flag, blue flag.
So, blue flags, we're calling for blue flags on Verline and Magnussen. Verline jumps out of the way and we get up the inside of him into the penultimate corner on the penultimate lap, and we are going to get DRS as well, which is going to help us out nicely. Räikkönen is absolutely flying. He's coming at us at like 2 seconds a lap or something now, and he is closing in on us, and it is going to be tight to see if we can maintain the lead of this race. Looking at the tyre wear, we should just about do it. With about 10% or so to spare on the tyres. We've looked after them very well as we jump past Kevin Magnussen in the Renault as we start now the final lap. And here we are coming through the penultimate corner now. We ran a little bit wide, looking after these tyres a little bit. Räikkönen is only about 3 seconds behind us now. So had this race gone on for another couple of laps, it would have been very close with our tyre wear and with Räikkönen coming to the end of the race. As you can see, there's the tyre wear there as we come into the final corner, but we've drove a brilliant race in master of the conditions. We come to win our 7th race of the season and win the Malaysian Grand Prix.
That was amazing, guys. That was wicked. Thank you so much. Fantastic pit stop. Great job all weekend. We definitely deserve that one, guys. We definitely did. Thank
So we win the Malaysian Grand Prix from Kimi Räikkönen and Sebastian Vettel. Daniel Ricciardo recovers from a few bad strategy calls to finish 4th ahead of Rosberg, Bottas, Hamilton, Massa, Button, Perez. Alonso gets driver of the day but misses out on points, and Hülkenberg only finishes 12th, being jumped by his teammate Perez, despite the fact they started ahead of him. But what a race, guys. I mean, that win has done us the world of good. We've extended the lead in the championship over Vettel now to 59 points, I think it is now. And I think we are starting to think about the World Championship. We have got one hand on this trophy now, going into the final 5 races of the season. As you can see, here is the standings. We're leading. We're the only driver with over 200 points. And as we come into the crunch end of the season, we are feeling very confident at the moment. Ricciardo dropped a bit of ground to Vettel as well today. It's looking like it's just a battle between me and Vettel. Maybe someone else can get in the mix. But as I've said all season, we're the only ones that have been consistent. It's been virtually a different winner every single race. No one's managed to chain together wins like we have. We've won 7 Grand Prix this season, and that's part of the reason why Red Bull are dominating the Constructors' Championship. Well, winning it comfortably, I'd say. We've got a nice buffer, but it is close between Ferrari and Mercedes-Benz, and there's a titanic battle for 5th between McLaren, Force India and Toro Rosso. That's one to watch out as the season progresses. But as I was saying about the championship, we're in a very, very good position now. Despite the DNF in Singapore, we are looking very strong as we go into the final couple of races of the season. Here are our resource points from the race. Race weekend with our driver bonus takes us up to 419. If we hadn't ceased the R&D, I don't think we could have afforded anything other than fuel efficiency, so it's worth us stopping the R&D. Rivalry, we didn't set a quicker lap time than Ricciardo because we had no pace at the end, so we've lost even more ground in the rivalry. And first position, it should be all green, which it is, which is going to help us out nicely. And here is our career score, if you want to compare it, or whatever. Don't really get the point of the career score, but there it is anyway. 8,000 or something. Or 80,000, it should be 80,000, I think, yeah. Anyway, here we are, just going to have a look at our new trophy in our trophy room. Guys, if you have enjoyed this, hit that like button, share it, subscribe if you're new. This series is a weekly series, and there's only a few races left. If you haven't caught up already, the playlist will be in one of the cards in the top right-hand corner. And remember, we're not far away from 100 subscribers, guys, so the growth has been fantastic. Thank you very much for the comments, for the likes, for everything. This series has been amazing. It's been great to record, and we've got a great final 5 episodes to go. So I can't thank you enough as we come into the crunch end of this season. So this championship, it'll be for you guys. So until next time, guys, I will see you around for the US Grand Prix in Austin, Texas. So until then, I will see you around. Take care and goodbye.